Okay, so we are back with our 2 days of live coverage here at the FPA NorCal conference in beautiful San Francisco. And my next guest is actually a panelist that I was on yesterday, David Grau, who is the founder and CEO of the Succession Resource Group. David, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, my pleasure.
All right. So just for framing this, David and I, and Corey Kupfer for that matter, were on a panel yesterday talking about succession planning sans PE, without private equity, which is not to say that's the only way to do succession planning, but that was what we talked about yesterday. So what I thought we would talk about today, David, is maybe touch upon that, but also maybe, we only have 5 or 6 minutes, touch upon the different ways people could use succession or plan for a better succession. In 5 minutes, sum it up for us.
I'll try not to talk like an auctioneer because it's so much more complicated, to your point, Chuck, than it used to be. I think back to even just 10 years ago. If you were going to sell your firm, you all are big enough, right? You either sell internal to your team, which you spent decades mentoring and training, or you didn't and you sold external. It was pretty analog. It's A or B. I guess maybe option C was you die at your desk.
Yeah.
That one I feel like is actually off the table now for most folks. Like they understand that their business has value. They want to make sure their clients land somewhere with the right folks. So that's not an option anymore. So you're left with A or B, internal or external. But there's so many more choices. Now, if I'm an advisor thinking about selling, A, I can't wait until I'm ready to retire to start thinking about that. Or I don't have A or B. I mostly have one option, to sell outside. So I have to think about decades before my retirement, or at least years before my retirement. And I could sell to PE, to your point. I could sell to my internal team. I could maybe sell to PE and my internal team. If I don't love the idea of PE, right, which we talked about on the panel, then maybe I sell to a peers, my size, 2 or 3 times my size. Maybe I merge with them. There are just so many more options today than advisors had before. It's gotten really complicated. There's exciting end results given all those different options, but you got to start a lot earlier because you have so many more choices.
Yeah, and I think it's always been the case for proper succession planning to start as early as possible.
Fair.
But as you say, we have so many more options now, makes it even more important to start early. So we've been talking about this at our shop, and I've been pretty public on how we want to move some equity to our next gen leaders. I want to stay on board to service our clients. It's a win for everyone.
Right. But
I personally am pretty anti-PE, not in general, for me. Right? I'm speaking purely for myself. I could see how it could be a good fit for other folks, but it's just not for us. What are you seeing more of these days? I think the answer is PE over internal. Are you seeing that change at all, or do you see that trend continuing?
Yeah, I mean, as a fiduciary to your clients, but also as a steward to your business and your family, right? There's a lot of stakeholders as a founder that are depending on you. You would be irresponsible to at least not consider and kick the tires on private equity, or even if it's not private equity directly, maybe a PE-backed aggregator, right? Because these are big shops. They've done it before. They're really good at it. And they've got some pretty unique terms and value propositions, right? So honestly, I think for most folks, certainly all of those listening, it comes down to what's your top priority. Because I've talked to you before about this. I mean, your top priority, I'm not going to say value is not on the top 3 priority list. But I'm guessing for you and a lot of your peers, it's not number 1, right? We want to make sure,
or at least I'm going to say for me, value today. Right? And I want to be real clear about this. I really think our clients will be better served without PE. I know our staff would be better served without PE. And I also think I'll be better served. Like personally, I really think that my personal value in Sovereign will be worth more in 10 years with my working with a great team that's equitized and incentivized than I can do with private equity. So it's not just pure, Chuck's like the most altruistic advisor out there. I'm not trying to sound like that. But it is 3 stakeholders. I think it's going to be better for our clients. I know it's going to be better for our staff, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be better for me too. It's a win for everyone. That's how I'm seeing it. But I have at least 10 more years of runway. If I didn't, that might be a different story,
And I think the timing is a key component there, right? If you built a firm, well, not if, you have built a wildly successful firm, as have many of the listeners. It's the challenge is if you don't have 10 years, you've got 2 years. Well, how do I make sure that my staff can remain employed and you still get to have the monetization event that you deserve, right? You've worked hard to build that business. So there are solutions, or there's situations, I think, where PE maybe does actually scratch an itch, right, that the industry has. But I don't think it's not the silver bullet solution that I think a lot of advisors think it is. But honestly, when you see the multiples that they're putting out in the offers and they get publicized in the trade publications like InvestmentNews, it's hard to at least not take a look at it and consider it.
They're compelling.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll just end on this, because I think it was a great visual reference that you made yesterday. And with this, what I'm talking about. So, okay, you might have this incredible, huge check offer.
Right.
And then they hand you the check, and I love the way you did it. You're like, but not so fast, right?
Yeah.
Just expand on that a little bit, please.
Yeah, so I think when people anticipate a sale to their internal team, assuming they have time, they still don't think they can get the same amount of value out of that deal, right? Because the challenge is, what's the one thing that all internal stakeholders have in common? They don't have any money.
Right.
There's a lady that came up right after our panel and said, hey, I've got a great team, but how do I make this work?
Yeah.
They don't have any money, and the only way they're going to have it is if I give it to them.
Right.
Well, it turns out if you have time and you plan for it and you have that team, there's financing solutions out there where you can get the same value, if not maybe more, from the internal team as you can from that PE deal, but the terms are so different, to your point.
Yeah.
The internal buyers go borrow the money and they give you a check. And they hand you that check, to your point, and they let go.
Exactly.
Right? So they buy the 20% or the 30%. The PE deals, they give you that check, and it's a big check. But you're right, they don't let go. There's strings attached. And if you can hit the growth hurdles and you're willing to take stock for a big portion of that,
right,
then maybe. But I think the challenge is for a lot of folks, you're basically betting on somebody else.
Yeah.
And to me, I think betting on your internal team, even if on the surface it maybe doesn't seem like it's as big a check, I think it's in many cases bird in the hand, two in the bush.
Yeah.
But I think if you give it enough time and you put in the work, right? Because you've lived this reality. You know it's not easy.
That's right.
But if you put in the work, you can sort of have your cake and eat it too. Your internal team can succeed you. Your clients are better served, and it will take longer and more work, but you can get the same or more value.
I completely agree, and you're keeping all three stakeholders happier, in my opinion.
Yeah.
All right. I think that's a good place to put a pin in it for today.
Yeah, 100%.
David Grau, thanks a lot for joining me.
Appreciate it.
Okay.
Thanks.
So that's it for our first segment for day 2. Coming up next, we have Michael Kitces. I'll be back in about another hour with him. Stay tuned for that. Okay. That was
awesome. Yeah.
Fantastic.